7. We just heard the gaveling in of the second special session from Speaker Burrows. Joining us now is Houston Public Media Politics and Government reporter Andrew Schneider. Andrew, we just heard Speaker Burrows say a lot. Can you explain to us where we're at in this new special session? We're
now basically looking ahead towards Monday. That's when his expectation is that they will have a quorum and they will be able to move forward. The indications are that the Democrats likely feel enough of them that they have accomplished their aims in the quorum break. And so we're starting to see some of them drift back. You heard earlier that we had 97. That was up from 95 this morning. They only need 3 more in order to make the 2/3 quorum of the House necessary in order to accomplish any business.
To clarify a couple points, he did say when the new session begins, but we saw the gaveling in. So if I am understanding correctly, the clock has begun, but theoretically the work cannot begin until there's quorum.
That's it exactly.
But then we saw 2 votes taken. So how are the votes taken without a quorum?
I think the only votes that they're allowed to take are votes to try and establish a quorum. That's my understanding of the rules.
HB4, do we know what that is?
HB4 was the number of the congressional redistricting bill that led to the quorum break in the first place, but that was its number under the previous special session.
Oh, so we're renumbering.
It's not clear to me how they had a vote on a bill from this morning's special session in this afternoon's special session.
You know, Andrew, something that stood out for me when we were listening was when Speaker Burrows said locking of the doors and warrant of arrest. Can you explain to us now, what does this mean for Democrats, the Democratic Party here, legislators here in Texas?
In theory, it could mean that Democrats returning from the break, from their quorum break, could find themselves greeted at the airport by representatives of the Sergeant at Arms, basically escorting them back to the chamber.
Well, to go on with what Celeste just asked, the statement of lock the doors, and then if you have a written excuse, you can leave.
Right.
What does lock the doors mean politically or legally?
Politically and legally, it means that if you are there, you are not allowed to depart the building. You are not allowed to depart the chamber unless you get the written permission of the head of the chamber, in this case, the speaker, to do so. That effectively is not in play over the weekend when they come back on Saturday, but it will be in play on Monday.
And we have 50% of what the Democrats said they wanted, which was they wanted the end of the old special session, and it's done. The second part is now they want to see movement from California on their maps. I use the word movement because it wasn't they need voting. It wasn't that they need to see the maps, correct?
They need to see the maps. They need some reassurance that any moves by Texas to increase the Republicans' number of seats will be offset in the overall for the U.S. Congress.
And Gavin Newsom implied that he will be releasing these maps today, tomorrow. So
exactly.
Theoretically, Monday we should see quorum.
I think that's what Burrows was basing his beliefs on, yes.
And I want to go back really quickly before we chimed in to the gaveling in Austin. And I was asking you, Andrew, because I do feel like I've seen both sides, the Republican legislators as well as Democratic legislators, claiming victory over this. From what you understand, are we still at a stalemate? What is changing here?
What's changing here is that we are likely to go through the second special session and see all of the legislation that was not able to be taken up passed in some form. The redistricting bill is likely to go forward. Some version of the THC ban is likely to go forward. The flood response legislation is likely to go forward with the addition of a new item that was brought up in the first special session but wasn't on the call, in other words, for camp safety. So there are now 19 items that will go forward. And the Republicans can claim that as a win. You saw Burrows explaining that, particularly in terms of bills on abortion, bills on effectively trans men going into to women's bathrooms. But the Democrats can claim victory in terms of having brought this to the level of the national conversation. Kendall Scudder, the head of the Texas Democratic Party, said earlier today in an interview with Blaise Gainey from the Texas newsroom, this effectively elevates to the level of the conversation, so that blue states are now talking about redistricting to counter this. They would not have been doing so had the Democrats not walked out.
Let me ask you a little bit about the maps here, too. What we saw during the last special session, I'm happy I can call it the last one now. That chapter is behind us. The Senate passed the map as they saw it, correct?
They passed the identical map to the ones that the House passed. It was the same plan out of the as labeled by the Texas Legislative Council. I believe it was Plan C-23. I forget the number.
Can the Democrats introduce an alternate map? And can that be voted on too? Or because the Senate has already passed their map, we are waiting just for this?
No, because the special session has started. It starts the clock all over again on new legislation. So the fact that the Senate passed that map in the last session,
that's void.
They have to do it all over again.
The other part of my question, can Dems introduce an alternate map and find some Republicans that may support that?
It's unclear to me, but as you've seen, the Republicans have pretty solid control over their own troops, so it's unlikely, even if the Democrats were able to introduce an alternative map, that would get it out of committee, let alone to the floor.
So at this point, once the Democrats are back, you would say, from what you're seeing and reporting, the map that we have seen is the map that's going to go through.
There may be some changes to it in committee. There weren't the last time. I'm not sure whether anything that's being negotiated behind the scenes might entail any movement to the lines, but it's going to be essentially the map that was brought up during the last special session. Yes.
Is the governor feeling pretty good today?
I'm sure that he is counting this as a win. Yes.
Andrew Schneider is Houston Public Media's politics and government reporter who will keep us updated on what's happening in the Texas special session. Andrew, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.